Hello everyone, today we're going back to Kings of War and some battle reporting. Well, it is actually a report from a tournament in which I took part a few days ago, and well, this is the very first tournament for me. I mean, for using the Kings of War system, and that is, well, I took my Kingdoms of Men army. Not much changes there. I mean, I was hoping to prepare some new units, but well, didn't have time. So anyway, if you want to see how I fared, well, just keep on watching. Okay, anyway, my first match was against the Dwarves. The person that was leading them is a fresh recruit. I mean, he's even greener in playing Kings of War than I am, right? So, starting from the left, you can see the Brocks behind the woods. There's a regiment of the normal Dwarves and a hero. Then there is a big horde of the pike dwarves, don't remember how they are called exactly, and there's a hero then, the flame something, another regiment of normal dwarves and some rangers. So this is what his setup looked like. We are playing a scenario when you can see those three little objectives. You can snatch them and well, you score if you keep them. So this is my army. Again, starting from the left, there are some knights, then there are some peasants. I mean, well, free company, I like to call them peasants. And then there is a regiment of arquebusiers. Behind them, there is obviously a giant. Next to him, to the right, there is a regiment of pole arms. I will call them halberdiers, probably. And there's a guy with this with the standard and the lute, the one that can throw a enchant. There's a wizard. I mean, she-wizard, she's there to heal, basically. In front of them, there's a heavy pike and the foot guard with the heavy two-handed weapons. Well, basically, I deployed first, so I started the game. I moved forward. I moved my arquebusiers onto the hill, so well, they couldn't shoot, but I figured this is a better position for them. My peasants were, maneuvering to sort of like, covered the cavalry and the arquebusiers, and everything else just pretty much moved forward. I mean, the right wing a bit more aggressively than the center. I mean, the halberdiers stayed a little back. Well, in his opponent, in his turn, my opponent pretty much did the same. I mean, he didn't do anything very aggressive. He just moved his dwarves forward. You can see, the big horde moving toward my pike and the rangers and everything. He didn't use the lord aggressively. I believe the lord was the flying dwarf lord, with a certain object that allows him to fly, but he kept him back, so not much really happened. Okay, so well, since it was my turn, I again aggressively moved forward. I bay-chanted my halberdiers, my pike unit, and they charged forward, as you can see here. I mean, I wasn't expecting them to break this huge horde of dwarves, but I was pretty confident that my pike can hold them in place, at least for some time, so I can possibly maneuver and do something. Although it was to be hard because there was like a solid block of dwarves pretty much everywhere. No space to squeeze and flank them and do something very dramatic. Not at the beginning anyway. Also, there was a situation. I mean, with my opponent being very green in the game. He moved in a way that he thought he's out of my reach. He assumed, it was stated, I believe, clearly enough, but still, he assumed that I move the same distance as he does. And obviously, people, men are a bit faster than the dwarves. It seems like I was able to charge him with a few units. Like you can see here, my foot guard was able to charge his dwarves. But I said, okay, listen, this is like your first match. I'll not do this. I'll roll a die, right? If it's more than three, I'll be able to charge you. If not, I will not. And well, I rolled three or something, and well, I didn't charge him. So I just stayed basically. And well, here obviously this is after we did the combat. I did some shooting, I believe. Also, I did score like a couple of hits on. I don't remember what I was shooting at actually. Well, my pike obviously didn't do very great against the horde, so I moved them back after the fight, and that was pretty much it. Well, in his turn, well, he obviously charged his huge unit of dwarves against my pike again. Well, yeah, it was okay. I mean, it was to be expected, and this is why my pike was here in the center, actually, to hold this kind of units. Well, what I was worrying about this was the unit of Brox in the woods, because I didn't do much against them, and well, you see, they just sprang out of these woods and hit my cavalry. I wasn't expecting. I mean, I still have like difficulty to judge certain things, especially about the cavalry, and I keep forgetting that these are rather fast units. Well, so they hit my knights. And here my halberdiers, they get like 3 wounds. I believe the rangers shot at them, yes, and they did 3 wounds. Yeah, well, that's okay. And well, here, yeah, this is how this game was going. The dwarves did 3 wounds. And this is not much, but yet my opponent managed to roll so high that my unit got wavered. And throughout the game, I'm not sure if he rolled anything less than a 4. I mean, it was just, yeah, funny. No, so well, this is how it was, and well, you have to deal with this, right? So the Brox did like a 4 wounds to my knights. Well, that was okay, but still, my charge bonus just went away. What's it called? Well, anyway, it went away obviously. So this was bad. I charged my giant into the dwarves. Again, he didn't do very good. Couple of wounds and yeah, that was bad. And well, my knights charged Brox, and I was maneuvering my peasants to do something. The knights did terribly, honestly. Again, couple of wounds, nothing very dramatic. So I was hoping maybe my peasants will help them in the next turn, and well, this will bear some fruit. Well, so here, the dwarves previously charged my foot guard, and they did a couple of wounds. But then in this turn, I was able actually to flank charge them with my halberdiers and the front charge with the foot guard. And guess what? I rolled so badly, I didn't break them. I didn't break them. Well, so basically, because I didn't break them, as a bonus, I got charged, flank charge. My halberdiers got by the rangers, and well, obviously this was very bad. My giant again didn't do much. I mean, he was charged by the flying lord. Well, flying lord didn't really hurt my giant, but the giant was not doing I mean, what he's supposed to. I don't know, maybe charging him, straight on the dwarves was not very good idea. Well, because of my decisions anyway, well, guess what? Those red X's means that I lost pretty much half of my army. Yeah, knights too. Basically, the whole right wing ceased to exist. And the dwarf lord charged my peasants. And well, the knights are there, so obviously the peasants cannot help them anymore. So the situation was bad because really the game was close to an end, and for the time being I was winning because I held like 2 out of 3 objectives. But you can see, well, this is the first attempt of my opponent to grab the second objective. His lord is trying to get to destroy my peasants. Well, he didn't succeed. I can tell you that he actually didn't succeed in this. So I kept this one. Um, but well, you know, my pikemen were left there pretty much alone. I was trying to heal them with the wizard, and you know, my standard was there and everything. Yeah, but I got, you know, flank charged by the rangers, and the front charge by the huge unit of dwarves, the hold. And well, my giant was trying to help, charging the flank of the pike dwarves. Well, that didn't do much. I mean, apart from a couple of wounds. So this is where the battle was to be decided. Well, if he was able to destroy my pike, he would grab the another objective. Well, and basically he would win the game. Yeah, and well, so sad, but this is what happened. You know, my pike, they were wiped out. He, well, you can see the sample of his dice. I mean, in the right upper corner, this is what he was rolling all the time. And this is basically the end of the game. I lost. You know, this was just like hitting a wall. I really, the, the, the god of dice were not with me. Yeah, but what can you do? I mean, I suppose, I mean, hopefully the guy that I was playing against, he liked the game. Maybe I'll play him again sometime when he'll have his own army, or some, you know, someone can still borrow him. Well, I would like to play him again and, you know, possibly win. That would be nice, because I cannot say I enjoyed this game. It was, like I said, like, you know, hitting a wall with your head. So, here it is, my second battle. I played against ogres. I never played against them. Well, to be perfectly honest, I didn't play against many things. So, no surprise here. Here it is a setup of my opponent. There are 3 hordes of ogres. One of them is different. I honestly don't remember which one was. I mean, it was a different kind of a unit. To the right you have a Fleabag troop, and then one more horde. These are shooting ogres. There's one more actually unit. We're going to see it in a sec. It was like to the left, and one more Fleabag troop. It was threatening this flank, I suppose. What I did, well, I didn't do anything fancy. Well, actually I did. This is my setup: pike, halabards, arquebusiers, and then my foot guard, which is being covered by my peasants. And here, deviously, on my left flank, I put my knights and the giant. I mean, I'm not sure if this was devious. I was just scared to put my knights in front of the shooting ogres, so that's why they're here, actually. Okay, so again, I did the first turn. I mean, I started the game, so I moved giant and the knights, and in the center I moved toward the woods. I put my shooting units on the hill. Well, actually, they did start it on the hill, but they were really not in a range of anything, so I moved them a bit forward. Thus, they did not shoot. And on the right, I moved my foot guard along with the peasants forward. And that was pretty much it for me. What you see here, it's actually after my opponent's turn. He shot the peasants to the pieces. They are actually dead here. therefore they are a bit angled like that. I mean, well, they're dead. They didn't survive. No surprise. No surprise here. And actually, apart from that, my opponent moved rather cautiously. He stayed out of the woods. I mean, in the center, and you can see one of the flea bugs there behind the hill. And here it is again, my turn. I decided not to go with the knights all over, I mean, behind the hill. So they moved toward the woods, sort of like, you know, checkmating. No, I mean, like checking the hordes of the ogres that were in the woods. If one of them decides to attack my pike, I will be able to charge them. The flea bags ran from giant. They are in the far corner there. I just decided I will not try to catch them. And the rest, I think I did some shooting. Not much happened actually. I hit some ogres, just did a couple of wounds, and that was pretty much it for me. Yeah, so here it is again. We can see clearly that my giant was right here behind the hill, trying to go around, and the knights. You know, again, I am really not an expert in playing this, in using this unit. I mean, I'm not an expert at all when it comes to Kings of War, but just knights are, you know, here again, I'm using them at some sort of, you know, not the way they suppose. Well, you'll see actually. Okay, yeah. Let's just let's just move forward. So yeah, since my peasants were dead, the shooting ogres took aim at my arquebusiers, did 6 wounds and wavered them, and there goes my shooting. For a moment anyway. And then one of the hordes charged my foot guard through the woods. Well, they didn't break them, you see, they just did, I mean, they did 9 wounds but didn't break them, which was a very good news for me. Well, I was hoping to get something out of this situation. And well, so I did. I charged. I mean, my halberdiers were actually able to charge the flank of the ogre horde, and obviously my my foot guard chipped in to destroy this unit. I mean, to help destroy this unit. And well. My pike was just standing there, actually inviting anyone who would like to charge them to do so, and my knights would, well, counter charge them. I mean, just charge them. But well, didn't really work. My giant was continuing his travel around the hill. Like I said, I disregarded the flea bags. I mean, I just came to the conclusion that they surely will charge me, but you know, I didn't think they're going to hurt me. I mean, too much. So I just decided to pretty much ignore them. And yeah, now here we again see the fight that started between my troops and the horde of ogres. And yeah, luckily I did win it. And I did a mistake here. I misinterpreted the rules. I mean, I just don't know them all too well, obviously, yet. Because I thought that only the unit that destroyed the opponent unit could actually turn. So therefore I just turned my halberdiers and I left my foot guard, you know, like hanging in the air. I mean, I thought I can't actually turn them. So they stayed exactly the same way as they were during the fight, thus exposing their flank to the flea bugs. Well, flea bugs are a nice unit actually. I mean, well, they have like 9 wounds. I mean, my foot guard. Well, there was a slight chance if they were attacked in the front, they could survive. But well, because of my mistake, them surviving through the charge of the flea bugs their flank would be charged. Well, it is highly unlikely that it's going to happen. And yeah, well, this is what happened actually in my opponent's turn. The fleabags charged the foot guard, and another horde of ogres appeared and charged my halberdiers. On the other fronts, actually, well, no one wanted to charge my pike. How unfortunate, right? Yeah, and again, my arquebusiers were shot upon by the ogres and some more wounds. I mean, they got 7 because I healed some, but again, they were wavered. Yeah, so here is like a broader view of the situation. I mean, in the far right corner, you can see that Giant was actually charged by the fleabags, but they just bounced off him. I mean, they did a couple of wounds, nothing substantial. And yeah, my halberdiers wavered by the ogres, and obviously Footguard was destroyed by the fleabags, who are angling toward my halberdiers now. Uh, so in my turn, I decided to finally move with my knights and my pike, mainly because I charged the giant into the flank of the one remaining. I mean, the one behind the woods still. Horde of ogres. I sight charged them. Well, I was not able to do anything with the arquebusiers and my pole arms because they're both wavered. So they stayed exactly where they were. I did heal some wounds on the arquebusiers, and here, fortunately, sorry, to my surprise, the giant just by himself he destroyed ogres totally. There was a very nice rolling. Therefore, I turned him to face the fleabags, and so my move with the pike and the knights became well, a little obsolete because they were going there to help the giant, and right now they were sort of like hanging in the air. And here again in my opponent's turn he charged his ogres, I mean the hero and the horde against my pole arms, and the fleabag decided that they actually will charge my arquebusiers, so they did. Actually they didn't do much. Again, the 2 wounds I believe they did, and this was like going to be a fight for well, a few more minutes. Well, here you can see, unfortunately, my pole arms halberdiers were destroyed by the horde of ogres, and they turned toward my pike. Well, here again in my turn, I charged the fleabag because there was not much else to do. I healed some wounds and I charged them. Well, I did a couple of wounds, nothing dramatic, but well, the fight continues. Here, fortunately for me, the pike were able to see the ogres, although well, you know, it was like a hindered charge through the woods. Well, I wasn't expecting that anything, you know, too dramatic will happen, but well, obviously there was not much else I could do. Here my opponent decided, well, there was nothing really else that he can shoot at, and well, I didn't say that, but we were playing the game in which every unit that was on the starting side of your opponent was scoring. So he decided that it's time to move his shooters. And here we can see that well, fight between the ogres and my pike. Well, I bounced off. I angled the knights. Unfortunately, not good enough. I mean, I don't know. I still can't see some things. I should like measure. I believe. Yeah. Therefore, they were only able to charge the ogres from the front. So the fight on the hill continues, and well, the thing is that the game was coming to an end. Pretty much, it was like well, almost end. And well, obviously, I mean, obviously, you know, the ogres were there was more ogres on my side of the table that I had units on the side of on the side of the table of my opponent. So well, unfortunately, I lost again. And again, I just, I didn't use my knights the correct way. Well, you can tell that, and there's a situation here in which I could actually charge the ogres from behind, yet I didn't, because I was like fixating on keeping them there to prevent other ogres from coming through the woods. Honestly, I need to get I need to learn how to use this properly. And my opponent later on said to me that he was actually afraid that I would put those knights in front of the shooting ogres, because they would be not they wouldn't be able to, shoot them to pieces in one turn, and it just needs like for knights like a two-turn to charge them, and I could like destroy them. I mean, possibly. Yet, like I said in the beginning, I put them behind the, next to the giant, and they were doing something. They didn't do much in the end. They just charged once, and the charge didn't do much. Well, anyway, I did like this game very much, actually. I lost it because I didn't play. I wasn't good enough, but it's not like I was dominated, destroyed, and then and this sort of things. It's just gives me hope for my Kingdoms of Men. I mean, I do have like other army that I'm preparing for Kings of War, but still, I'm sure I'm gonna continue to play the Kingdoms of Men, because I just like the aesthetics and everything. So I will. And yeah, this was a very nice game, although I lost it again because of the scenario, basically. But well, it was very interesting anyway. Okay, so this is my last game on this tournament. I played against Orcs. I've never played against Orcs. I liked Orcs. I do consider to be doing an Orc army myself for the Kings of War. So now I was back on this dreadful table with a horrible playmat. The pictures are not great on this map, and I do have some. I'm not fond of some memories considering this table and the first battle. Well, anyway, yeah, what you can see, it's how my opponent has set up his force. So starting from the left, there is an axe regiment, and then there is I don't remember. Well, the orcs on boars, and behind them there is behind them. No, well, behind them there is a huge. A horde of more axe orcs, then there is a horde of very nice trolls, and there is one more regiment of orcs, or X regiment. And we are playing a scenario in which you score when you enter. I mean, there is four quarters of the table, and each one is scored. Two on the opposite sides are worth the most points. For me, there was a right part on my right, and for my opponent, well, pretty much the same. So anyway, this is my setup. Well, again, nothing too fancy, actually. I mean, it looks again like the setup from my first game. Yikes. Well, anyway, there are knights, the peasants in front of them, arquebusiers, pole arms regiment, there's two heroes, and a unit of heavy pike in front of them, giant, and the foot guard. And again, I was to decide who's starting, and I decided to start the game. I need to think about this a bit more, because I'm like, this is not necessarily the best way. Well, anyway, I moved forward. I was trying to angle my knights. I mean, the peasants sort of like cover the arquebusiers and the knights. I moved aggressively, especially in the middle and on the right flank, with the pike, the giant, and the home guard, foot guard. Sorry. The halberdiers stayed a bit back behind this field of cabbage or whatever that is. Anyway, my opponent did some cautious moving, actually, so not much really happened. I did take it 3 wounds from the fireballs on the little shaman. I think he got like 9 fireballs, so he was throwing them like crazy. Yeah. So here I actually, I was actually thinking what I was doing. It sort of set up sort of like a trap. I was aiming for what those 2 regiments. I mean, the Horde of Trolls and the Regiment of Axe. I put my unit in a way that I was like, taunting my opponent to charge. I mean, anyone actually. I didn't care much. I was pretty sure that I could like counter charge. I mean, counter charge I mean like maneuver and charge with my remaining unit, and this would give me an advantage actually. So again, I was pretty happy with the pike, taking charge of trolls or anything else, and also giant. I don't think any of those units that could actually charge him could like break him. And there was this huge horde of orc axe dudes, more axe, sorry, but they were not threatening at the moment, since we were. It was a small game, 1,200 points. It was 40 by 4 foot by 4 feet by 4 feet. So they were kind of squeezed there. They couldn't maneuver right now. So I was okay. Well, let's just see what happened. Yeah, and again, I kept my halberdiers still to help those 3 units if something tragic happened. Here, well, I did a bit worse. I mean, I thought I am like moving and maneuvering with my especially with my peasants, that I'm going to cover the arquebusiers and the knights. Again, cavalry is just something that it's sort of like a mystery to me. I even forgot that they can move really fast, right? Because they are cavalry. Yeah. So yeah, I didn't take into account this unit of boar riding orcs, and they were on me in a heartbeat. Yeah. So they squeezed nicely between my units and charged my arquebusiers, and then the unit of orc axe charged my peasants. Well, that's okay. What was not okay, it was the orc on the right. The little orc. I mean, well, he's not that little, but in terms of a unit, it's a small unit. He charged my knights, and again, I put my knights in a position where they didn't do what they were supposed to do. Is something so dramatic like the bloody bull riding dudes, and yet they got charged by some lonely orc hero. Yeah, so he obviously bounced away from my knights. I mean, the orc hero, but he did 2 wounds to them, therefore depriving them of their thunderous charge next turn, which is very bad. And well, here you can see the peasants, well, obviously destroyed. Well, that's pretty much. I mean, that's okay, because this is what's supposed to happen. But what is unfortunate is that my arquebusiers got destroyed as well, and this is like my flank ceased to exist. This was really not a very good beginning. I was so happy with this sort of with this trap that I laid on my right side, but the left side just went away. My poor knights were left there just by themselves. So here my opponent was not tempted into charging me, so I decided to charge him. I was so wanted to charge everything, like along, I mean, the pike, the giant, and everything. But then I came to a conclusion this is not a very good idea. So I just charged the axe regiment with my foot guard and the giant. I didn't touch the trolls in terms of charging them. I thought this was clever, because again, if the trolls decide to charge my giant, I can charge them with my pike and so on and go on. Although this was now not so great, because my other flank just ceased to exist. Yeah, still, the thing is that my wonderful maneuver didn't bore fruit. I mean, not as as a great thing happened as I was hoping for. Because I was basically unable to break those orcs, which was rather unfortunate. And and here I charged my knights into this dude, and he was well the worst rolling I did in the whole tournament. It was like 16 attacks of my knights with the Brew of Strength. I did I did one wound to this guy. You know, I was like already facing two other units, and I couldn't kill this lonely hero of goddamn Clint Eastwood kind of. I don't know. This was just terrible rolling. And yeah, well, I was fortunate enough that I could charge. I didn't see the Bull Riders, but I could charge the flank of the Ox regiment, and well, I was hoping a miracle may happen. So it was a hinder charge, you know, through the field. So I was like hitting on fives, but still, I was trying to save whatever I could from this flank. And well, the miracle sort of like happened. As you can see, I did some wounds on those on those orcs, and then I rolled 11, so I was able to waver them. I mean, if I did like one more wound or rolled like 12, they would have been gone. So yeah, almost there, but not exactly, right? And as you can see behind, you know, the situation is going. It's not very nice, because this huge Axe regiment, I mean, more Axe is coming, and since I couldn't break those orcs, well, my halberdiers are very much in trouble right now. And yeah, here it is. I mean, what I was saying before, I bounced off the lonely orc because I couldn't kill him with my 16 attacks on threes with the Brew of Strength. Wonderful dice rolling on my part. And here, since I didn't destroy the axe unit, I got charged by the trolls. Well, here the predictable thing happened. My halberdiers were charged by the huge axe units, more axe units. So, well, it was beyond hope actually that they will survive that. And here again, the bloody little hero charged my knights. What a pesky little bastards! And the boar unit was just angling, I mean, turning toward my knights. The axe orcs couldn't do anything because they were wavered for the moment. Trolls didn't do much to my giant actually. I mean, well, eight wounds. I was worrying that they will destroy him. Well, they didn't, which was actually fortunate. And here in this unclear picture, we'll see that the huge Morax horde already turned toward my pike, because, well, they simply ate the halberdiers with no problem whatsoever. It's a very scary unit. I mean, this horde really. And here, again, not a great picture, but I managed to destroy the axe regiment, so I turned toward the trolls and the giant counter-charge trolls as well. He didn't do great, if I remember, but he did okay. He did a couple of wounds. And here, well, I finally decided, I mean, I was able to destroy this lonely hero of orcish kind, and well, I angled the knights, so I mean, none of the orcs regiments was able to charge my flank. Still, you know, it wasn't looking very good. So yeah, here I didn't have much choice. I turned my pike to face the orcs. Again, I was hoping they would be able to hold them, and yeah, it was in my favor that the orcs were forced to charge through this cabbage field, and along with my ensnare ability on the heavy pike, you know, they were hitting them on sixes. So yeah, I was fine. I think they didn't do much to me. The orcs. So yeah, but the question was, how long will I be able to stay there? I mean, my flank was safe for the moment, but well, for the moment, right? Yeah, so here the inevitable happened. I got charged by those two regiments, and things were looking very bleak for my knights. Yeah, so here we see the trolls did again a couple of wounds to the giant. Unfortunately, the giant was still alive. You know, throughout the game, I can disclose this information. The giant was doing great. I mean, he was very courageous. He does not like trolls, I believe, because he will stay there for still quite some time. Well, here the surprise for me, I mean, nice surprise. Those both of those units, they did 10 wounds to my knights. Well, they didn't break them. So I rolled nicely and the knight stayed. So in my turn, I decided that I will try to, you know, run for it. And I charged the axe unit, since they did have a couple of wounds on them. I was hoping that I may, like, you know, get through them and sort of like ran away. This was the plan anyway. Well, some very, you know, lucky rolling was needed if I was to accomplish that. And here again you can see that the orcs bounced off my pike. They did see 6 wounds, however, yet still they were in the cabbage field, so I was hoping to hold them for well, a bit longer. And here you can see the miracle did happen. I charged, like I said, I charged the axe regiment. I did a couple of wounds on them, and then I did roll, well, as you can see, 2 6s, and I did destroy this unit. You know, this was very fortunate, but this was not the end of my peril. I still needed, you know, to go rather fast in order to get out of the visibility field of the boar riders, and so I did. As you can see, I rolled another 6, which is again very fortunate, and I managed to get out of the field of view of the boar riders, so I was safe for the moment, and I did have some possibilities because of that. Here again you see the fight. You can see that my pike is unfortunately wavered. These orcs are horrible. I mean, despite their Mayan snare and the cabbage field, they were getting through my pikes. Some unfortunate rolling, I was unable to kill the bloody trolls. I believe they did rather well while regenerating those wounds. Yeah, here you can see that the boar riders are getting ready to destroy my knights. So yeah, it's not like out the danger yet, but I got some, you know, things I can do. I can charge the thralls or the regiment. I mean, the big horde of Morax. So yeah, it's looking good. Here I charge the trolls. Counter charge actually again. And here, what you can see, I mean, there is this red skull behind my knights. So what happened is, the bloody little shaman dude that was throwing his fireballs all over the place, and he was not getting, you know, he was not very fortunate. I mean, whatever he did with those fireballs, I was able to heal. Yet this time, he did just 1 bloody wound to my knights, and he wavered them, which was just bloody. I mean, this was possibly to destroy my plan of charging them, because obviously the wavered knights cannot go anywhere. Well, they are headstrong, so I was kind of okay. I mean, I was sure that I can pull this off still. Yet, well, like I said, this was like, you know, I was like, when this happened. Just 1 bloody fireball got through and hurt them. Well, Here, unfortunately, what you can see is my pike got destroyed finally by the huge orc horde. I couldn't do much about them. They were brave, you know, and still they did held for quite some time, and the fight with the trolls was were just I mean, like I said, that I did lots of wounds. I did some bad rolling. I mean, my opponent was happy. I mean, lucky with the route tests, and then he did regenerate lots of wounds on those trolls. Very nasty, you know, things. The horde of trolls. Yeah, and now the Morax was angling toward my troops, and what you can see is 25 wounds on the giant, and he's still there. I rolled like double ones for him to stay there, which was very unfortunate for my opponent. But still, I couldn't break the bloody trolls. Well, again, I love the giant. Really, he did really well. I mean, well, he could destroy the trolls along with the foot guard. That would have been much better. But still, you know, it was very amusing to see how he went. You know, he was beaten constantly by those trolls, yet he was refusing to die. Very, you know, very nice and very climatic in the end. So what you can see here is the worst thing that could happen happened, and this is the black die. You see, it's my roll on the headstrong. I needed to roll 3. I rolled 2, and therefore my knights didn't go anywhere. And so again, you know, the trolls were broken. Well, you can see those 2 dice. These are my dice. I rolled for the roll test. Two ones, and the trolls didn't go anywhere, and therefore fate of my giant was finally sealed, and the poor guy was murdered. You know, not long after this event. Well, again, he did rather well. I'm certainly to include him in my forces in the future. And this was pretty much the end of the game. I ran out of the space on my you know, card in the camera, so no more pictures. But this is the end. I don't recall. I think I destroyed the trolls in the end. Maybe I didn't. It didn't really matter. Well, I lost again. You know. Because obviously my opponent had more units in my part of the table in those 2 quarters, and I didn't. Anyway, this was an awesome game. I loved it. It was like, you know, dramatic. Everything could happen. You know, at the start I was doing so bad with you know, my flank disappearing, that it seemed like I, you know, did get through the crisis, and I was almost, you know, in a threatening position to do some real damage. Well, that didn't happen, and well, in the end I lost. You know, I didn't really think about this tournament. I mean, in terms of, you know, like doing something serious. I mean, winning, you know, battles and stuff. Well, I certainly could win the first one. Well, anyway, I had the tremendous fun. I am sure to do this again. I really like the game. I like the speed of it, and everything about it. I mean, well, almost everything. For the moment, I can say that I really enjoyed the whole game. I'm sure I'll come to a conclusion if I play more that there are some things I don't necessarily love all that much. But for the moment, I am, you know, thinking about what I can add and change in my army. Like I said, I have a material on the second army that I'm preparing. So you'll be able to see what I have in a store for the Kings of War. And well, this is pretty much it. I hope you did enjoy the material. Again, if you like it, please subscribe and like my channel and my videos, and I'll be sure to include some more things. that you will hopefully enjoy. So that's it. Thank you for watching and take care. Till the next time.